Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford has the rare talent of reading a fighter's rhythm in real time. Against Errol Spence Jr. in July 2023, that rhythm was built around the jab. Spence came in unbeaten at 28-0, holding the WBA, WBC, and IBF welterweight titles. He used the jab to step into range, take space, and start forcing exchanges. Most fighters backed up, covered up, or got pulled into the pace Spence wanted. Crawford watched how Spence entered. The jab came first. The feet followed. Then Spence kept moving forward before his guard fully reset. The opening was during the step behind the jab, when Spence was still coming in. In round 2, Spence entered behind the jab again. Crawford met him with a short counter and dropped him. After that, Spence had to keep using the same entry, but Crawford already had the timing. By round 7, Spence was still trying to force pressure. Crawford stayed in range, let the entries come, and punished them. In round 9, Crawford backed Spence to the ropes and kept punching while Spence covered up without answering. The stoppage gave Crawford all 4 welterweight belts. Artur Beterbiev. Big wind-up most punchers use to access it. Callum Smith had never been knocked down or stopped before their fight in January 2024. He came in at 29-1, a former super middleweight champion, and Beterbiev was defending the WBC, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight titles with a perfect knockout record. Smith tried to keep a tight guard and stay responsible under pressure. Beterbiev still got to him. The damage was coming from short punches, clipped shots around the gloves, and punches thrown from close enough that Smith should have been able to smother them. Most punchers lose power when the shot gets crowded. Beterbiev can still make those punches heavy. His feet stay close, his hands stay short, and the impact is still strong enough to push the other fighter back. Smith kept blocking, resetting, and giving ground. By round 7, the pressure had caught up. He went down twice. After the fight was stopped, Beterbiev moved to 20-0 with 20 knockouts. David Benavidez. David Benavidez throws lightning-fast combinations for a fighter his size. Caleb Plant had the style that should have made that difficult in March 2023. He came in at 22-1, a former IBF super middleweight champion, and one of the sharper pure boxers in the division. Benavidez came in unbeaten at 26-0. Early in the fight, Plant used movement, clinches, and quick counters to slow the pace. That worked while the exchanges stayed short. Once Benavidez started extending the combinations, Plant had to defend for longer than he wanted. For a fighter his size, Benavidez's hands reset unusually fast. He can throw a hook, bring the hand back, and fire again before the opponent has fully left the pocket. Plant could block the first shot or roll with the second, but the later punches kept arriving. By the second half, Plant was spending more time covering up than answering. Benavidez kept throwing through the guard, kept forcing Plant into long defensive stretches, and won a unanimous decision. Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is very good at staying calm under fire. He can make punches miss with small head movements, then counter from the same position. Gennady Golovkin tested that in September 2017. He came in at 37-0, the most feared middleweight in boxing, with a heavy jab and pressure that usually made opponents rush their decisions. Canelo spent long stretches near the ropes, but he was not just waiting there. He was reading Golovkin's shoulders, catching shots on the gloves, rolling with others, and looking for the counter as the punch came in. A fighter who panics under pressure can block and still lose the exchange. Canelo stayed compact enough to defend without taking himself out of position. When Golovkin stepped in behind the jab, Canelo could slip, roll, or catch the shot, then answer before Golovkin was fully reset. Across the middle rounds, Canelo kept looking for counters off Golovkin's pressure. When Golovkin stepped in behind the jab, Canelo would roll, catch, or slip just enough to fire back without giving up his stance. The fight went 12 rounds and ended in a draw. Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson is very good at staying just outside the punch, then answering before the opponent can reset. Robson Conceição had to deal with that on September 23, 2022. He came in at 17-1, an Olympic gold medalist, and a long, awkward boxer who was used to fighting at range. Stevenson entered unbeaten at 18-0, though he had lost his WBC and WBO titles on the scale after missing weight. Stevenson kept deciding when the exchange actually started. He stayed close enough to make Conceição punch, but far enough that the shots fell short or landed without full force, ruined the whole attack. When the opponent resets, Stevenson is already in position to touch him back. Conceição kept reaching with longer shots. Stevenson made him miss, made him fall short, then scored before Conceição could get his feet back under him. In round 4, Stevenson dropped him with a left hand to the body. The fight went 12 rounds, and Stevenson won a wide unanimous decision. Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia's left hook is his obvious weapon, and it still lands because it is so fast. Francisco Fonseca knew what to look for on February 14, 2020. Garcia came in unbeaten at 19-0, already known for the left hook. Fonseca came in at 25 in 2-2, with both losses coming against world-level opponents. The danger is the speed from the loaded position. Garcia can hold the left hand low, let the opponent think the shot is still being prepared, then fire before the guard finishes moving. The punch does not need a long setup. Once the opening appears, it is already on the way. Fonseca tried to step in early and test him. Garcia stayed calm, let him come forward, and threw the left hook as Fonseca was still in range. The left hook landed clean on the chin. Fonseca fell flat on his back, and the referee counted him out at 120 of the first round. Amir Khan. Amir Khan had some of the fastest hands boxing has ever seen. Devin Alexander was supposed to be sharp enough to handle that speed on December 13, 2014. He came in at 26-2. A former champion at junior welterweight and welterweight. Khan came in at 29-3, still known as one of the quickest punchers in the sport. The speed was clearest when Khan threw in bursts. A jab would touch, the right hand would follow, and Alexander was already defending before he could answer back. Khan kept the punches straight, so there was less wasted motion and less time for Alexander to interrupt him. Alexander tried to reset the distance, but Khan kept beating him to the first clean shot. When Alexander waited, Khan touched him from outside. When Alexander stepped in, Khan met him before the exchange could get messy. Alexander never got the counterpunching rhythm he needed. Khan kept touching him first, leaving before the return came, then stepping back in with another fast burst. After 12 rounds, Khan won a wide, unanimous decision. Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis can switch stance in the middle of an attack and keep the punches coming. On July 8, 2023, Royman Villa had to pressure a fighter who kept changing stance in front of him. Ennis came in unbeaten at 30-0, defending the interim IBF welterweight title. Villa came in at 26-1 with 24 knockouts, a pressure fighter who was there to force exchanges. Ennis kept changing the look before Villa could settle. From orthodox, he could jab, step around, and bring the right hand behind it. From southpaw, the lead hand changed, the angle changed, and Villa had to find the entry all over again. Some fighters switch stance and need a second to reset. Ennis can switch and keep attacking. The opponent sees a new angle, but the punches do not pause while he processes it. Villa kept coming forward, but the target kept changing. Ennis would slide out, switch, and meet him with fast counters before Villa could square up again. In round 10, Ennis trapped Villa near the ropes and kept punching until Villa could not answer. The finishing combination put Villa down, and the fight ended at 127 of the round. Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin's jab was heavy enough to move fighters like a power punch. Daniel Jacobs had to feel that over 12 rounds in March 2017. Jacobs came in at 32-1, a middleweight champion with size, speed, and real punching power. Golovkin came in unbeaten at 36-0 with a 23-fight knockout streak. Most jabs are used to touch, measure, or set up the right hand. Golovkin's jab could do more than that. It disrupted balance. It pushed opponents out of stance. It made them reset before they could start their own offense. Jacobs had success by switching stance, moving, and refusing to stand still for too long. But even when he avoided the biggest shots, Golovkin kept finding him with the jab. The punch was not just scoring, it was interrupting Jacobs every time he tried to build rhythm. In round 4, Golovkin dropped Jacobs with a short right hand along the ropes. Jacobs got up and fought well, but Golovkin kept using the jab to control long stretches. After 12 rounds, Golovkin won by unanimous decision. Dmitry Bivol. Dmitry Bivol is a boxing machine. He can move out of danger without giving up his position to punch back. Gilberto Ramirez was supposed to test that on November 5, 2022. He came in at 44-0. A tall southpaw, a former WBO super middleweight champion, and had stopped Dominic Bocel in a WBA final eliminator earlier that year. Bivol came in unbeaten at 20-0, defending the WBA light heavyweight title. Bivol's movement does not break his structure. He can step out, reset his feet, bring the jab back, and stay ready to defend without wasting motion. Ramirez kept trying to make the fight bigger and messier. Bivol made it small. He moved just enough to leave Ramirez reaching, then returned with straight punches before Ramirez could square up again. The footwork never looked dramatic. Bivol was not sprinting around the ring or escaping exchanges. He was taking half steps, keeping his stance under him and staying balanced enough to punch immediately after moving. After 12 rounds, Bivol won a wide, unanimous decision. Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is unusually explosive for such a muscular heavyweight. Vladimir Klitschko was the biggest test of Joshua's career on April 29, 2017. Joshua came in unbeaten at 18-0, defending the IBF heavyweight title in front of 90,000 people at Wembley Stadium. Klitschko was 41 years old, but still one of the most experienced heavyweights of the era. Joshua was at his best when the fight opened up. In round 5, he jumped on Klitschko with a fast burst and dropped him. Klitschko survived the attack, then came back and dropped Joshua in round 6. By round 11, Joshua had recovered enough to explode again. He hurt Klitschko with a right uppercut, then followed with punches before Klitschko could get his legs back under him. Klitschko went down twice in the round. The second knockdown left Klitschko trapped near the ropes. Joshua kept throwing until the referee stopped it at 2:25. Joshua moved to 19-0 and added the WBA Super and IBO heavyweight titles. Sergey Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev had real power at long range. Nathan Cleverly had to deal with that on August 17, 2013. Cleverly came in unbeaten at 26-0, defending the WBO light heavyweight title in Wales. Kovalev came in at 21-0-1, fighting for his first world title. Kovalev did not need the fight to become a close-range exchange. His jab carried weight by itself, and the right hand came from far enough away that Cleverly had to react before he could safely step in. Cleverly tried to box, move, and keep the fight from turning into a brawl. Kovalev kept reaching him anyway. He touched Cleverly from distance, made him react to punches that looked like rangefinders, then brought the heavier shots behind them. In round 3, the long-range damage broke through. Kovalev dropped Cleverly twice and left him barely surviving the round. Round 4 started with Cleverly still hurt. Kovalev dropped him again, and the referee stopped it 29 seconds into the round. Kovalev left Wales with the WBO title.